She had tried so hard, for years, for decades. She had given the right advice, taken the high road, swallowed her pride, paid for others, showed up early, stayed late, forgave before anyone asked. And yet, her life was not beautiful. It was exhausting. She had done everything right, but the world kept answering her kindness with silence. Her good intentions kept landing like stones dropped into a deep well. She heard a splash, but no echo ever came back up. One evening, unable to sleep, she walked to the edge of the forest near her home. And there, sitting on a fallen log, was an old sage. He was not doing anything remarkable. He was simply watching a single leaf float down a small stream. She did not plan to speak, but her pain spoke for her. She stood there for a long moment. Then, almost whispering, she said, "I don't understand." The sage did not ask what. He simply waited. Silence wrapped around them like a second skin. She continued, her voice cracking. "I have done everything I was supposed to do. I have been honest. I have helped people who never thanked me. I have worked hard. I have not cheated. I have not lied. So why does my life feel so wrong? Why do my good intentions keep leading me into walls?" The sage picked up a small stone from the stream. He turned it over in his palm. "You believe," he said gently, "that good intentions are a ticket, a receipt. You believe that because you meant well, the universe owes you a smooth road." She blinked. "Shouldn't it?" He smiled, not cruelly, but with the sadness of someone who has watched this mistake break 1,000 hearts. The sage placed the stone back into the water. "A farmer once planted a seed," he said. "He watered it every morning. He stood over it and shouted, 'Grow, I have good intentions. I want you to become a tree.' The seed did not move. The farmer shouted louder. He brought more water. He prayed. He cried. He said, 'But I am trying so hard. Why are you not growing?' The woman listened. Her face was still, but something behind her eyes was shifting. The seed, the sage continued, did not grow because the farmer shouted. The seed grew because it was buried in darkness, because the soil pressed against it, because it had to crack open before it could rise. You, dear one, have been shouting at your life. You have been demanding that your good intentions produce results immediately. But nature does not work that way." He looked at her hands, clenched at her sides. "A seed does not ask, 'Why am I in the dark?' A seed does not say, 'But I meant well.' A seed simply cracks. It surrenders to the breaking, and only then does it become something more than a seed." The woman sat down on a mossy rock across from him. Her guard was falling. "But I have been kind," she whispered. "I have not hurt anyone. Why do people still leave me? Why do my efforts still fail?" The sage pointed to the stream. "See that rock?" he said. She nodded. "The river does not fight the rock. It does not say, 'Move, I have good intentions.' It simply flows around, over, under, and over time, years, decades, the rock becomes smooth. Not because the river was angry, but because the river was patient. Your mistake," he said softly, "is not your kindness. Your mistake is your attachment to how life should respond to your kindness." She frowned. "What do you mean?" "You give, and then you wait for applause. You help, and then you wait for return. You love, and then you wait to be loved exactly the way you imagine." "That is not kindness," the sage said. "That is a contract." The woman's breath caught. She wanted to argue. She wanted to say, "But that's not fair."
Instead, she said nothing, because somewhere deep, she knew he was right. "So what do I do?" she finally asked. "Stop being kind? Stop trying?" The sage shook his head slowly. "No, you keep being kind, but you stop keeping score." He picked up a fallen leaf from the ground. "Does the tree ask the leaf to return? Does the sun ask the flower to pay back its warmth?" "No," he continued. "The tree lets the leaf fall. The sun shines whether the flower blooms or not. That is pure giving. That is giving without a hidden contract." She wiped her eyes. "But it hurts when nothing comes back." "Of course it hurts. You are human. Pain is not your enemy. Pain is your teacher. It is showing you where you are still holding on."
The sage picked up a small piece of quartz from the stream bed. "Look at this stone," he said. "Right now, it is nothing special, dull, rough. But inside it, there is something that can only come out through pressure." He held it toward her. "A diamond does not complain when the chisel strikes it. A diamond does not say, 'But I have good intentions.' The diamond knows, without knowing, that every strike is removing what it is not, so that what it truly is can finally appear. Your failed efforts," the sage said gently, "are not punishments. They are chisels. They are cutting away your need for control, your need for validation, your need for life to look exactly the way you pictured it." She was crying now, quietly, not from defeat, from recognition. After a long silence, the kind of silence that holds more truth than any sermon, the woman spoke again. "So, my good intentions were never the problem." The sage shook his head. "Your good intentions were never the problem. Your expectation that good intentions should protect you from difficulty, that was the problem." He leaned forward. "The universe does not reward good intentions with easy roads. The universe rewards good intentions with growth, and growth always, always comes through pressure." She looked at the stream again. The water was still flowing. The rock was still there. Neither was fighting. "So what remains?" she asked. "After all this, what is left of me?" The sage smiled. Not a big smile, a small one, the kind that has watched souls break and heal 1,000 times. "What remains," he said, "is what has always been there. Your willingness to try, your soft heart that refuses to harden, your courage to keep giving even when giving has cost you." He paused. "That is not weakness. That is the strongest thing in the universe." The sage stood up. The woman stood with him. "Before you act," he said, "do this. 3 breaths." She looked confused. 3 breaths? "Before you give, before you speak, before you help, pause. Take 3 breaths. And on each breath, whisper to yourself, 'I give without a contract. I act without demanding the ending. I trust the soil even when I cannot see the sprout.'" "That is all," the sage said. "That is the practice. Not grand gestures, not perfect intentions, just 3 breaths that remind you, you are the river, not the rock. You are the seed, not the farmer who shouts." The woman walked home that morning. She did not have new answers. She did not have a perfect life waiting for her, but she had something better. She had 3 breaths. And as she walked, she realized she had never asked the sage his name. Some say he was a wandering monk from the east. Some say he was a preacher from the hills. His students called him by many names across many centuries. But that morning, walking through the dew and the rising light, she understood something. It did not matter what his name was. What mattered was that he had reminded her of what she already knew somewhere deep beneath all the exhaustion. Good intentions do not fail. They only ripen slower than our impatience allows. If something stirred in you today, if you have been exhausted by trying so hard and seeing so little return, do not click away yet. Sit where you are, take 3 breaths, and ask yourself, where have I been giving with a contract instead of giving with freedom? That question is not a punishment, it is a door. We will walk through more doors together. Ancient wisdom for modern souls.